You are now listening to the Pelicans post-game report, Flash Report.
So, Coach, this is Will Guillory with The Athletic. Day 2, just what were you guys able to accomplish today, and what were the main points of emphasis?
Yeah, well, today was all offensive install stuff, just putting stuff in. That's all we did. No live work at all in the morning. Just making sure we understand the basics of how we want to play offensively, our spacing, things like that. How we want to attack off opponents' makes, and started putting in sets for dead balls and things. So, we got we got 3 different series in today with multiple sets in each series. So we got a lot in. Went a little too fast maybe, but we got a lot in the time.
Hey Stan, this is Christian Clark with NOLA.com. Just kind of looking at all of your teams in the past. I mean, it seems like preventing shots at the rim is one of the through lines. I was just curious. I mean, why is that important to you? Why does that seem to be a belief, and how do you do that kind of consistently?
Well, the why is. The most efficient shot in the game is free throws. And the second most efficient shot in the game are layups, shots inside that restricted area. And a lot of your free throw attempts that you give up happen with people driving the ball. So the more you can limit the ball getting into the paint, particularly deep into the paint, you're taking away a lot of what the 2 most efficient shots in the game are. I mean, it's pretty easy analytics, quite honestly. We've seen it for 2 years in a row now with Milwaukee, number 1 defense in the league, give up the fewest points in the paint, don't give up very many free throw attempts, give up the most threes in the league, and they're the number 1 defense. Number 2 defense in the league last year was Toronto. They gave up the 2nd fewest points in the paint, 4th or 5th most 3-pointers made. I mean, if you want to cut down the efficiency of opponents' offense, you take away the most efficient shots as much as you can.
This is Jim Eichenhofer from Pelicans.com. When you look back at what this team did last season, they were 29th in turnover percentage. How important do you think that is as far as reducing the turnovers and the effect that has on the defense as far as trying to improve what you guys are going to do defensively?
I mean, it's really important. Probably the number 1 priority, probably the number 1 defensive priority, Jim, is to cut down on our turnovers, because there's not a team in the league that's not better defensively with their defense set than they are scrambling in transition. And so cutting down on the turnovers is huge, particularly on the live ball turnovers. And we've been a little bit hard on these first 2 days because there's been some sloppiness with the ball, and we have to build better habits taking care of the ball to allow our defense to have a chance at the other end.
Hey Stan, this is Vince Goodwill from Yahoo. Good to see you back on the sidelines again. I'm very curious with the COVID protocols. Is there a general acceptance that this is something that can and will affect your team? And secondly, as a coach, how do you balance telling your players to be responsible with the acceptance that you can do the right things and it can still affect you?
Well, it's like anything, Vinny, I think, you've got to do what you can do and control what you can control. We can control our behaviors. We don't have to go out in crowded places. We can social distance. We can wear masks. We can do all of those things. But you're absolutely right. It's no guarantee. I mean, it's no guarantee that will be enough. Will we have to deal with cases of COVID? I don't know. It's very possible. You certainly know you're going to deal with other things that are going to keep guys out. I mean, it's just all part of it. And so, for us, we have to get to the point where we're just ready to compete anytime, any place, under any conditions. And so you walk in one night and you got 8 or 9 guys. Okay, let's go. We got those 8 or 9. Let's get out there and compete. And let's not get distracted by outside stuff. Let's not make excuses. Let's go compete every night. And probably a lot of the stuff that we're going to have to deal with, we don't even know right now that's what we're going to deal with. Stuff always comes up that you're not even thinking about. So we're all thinking about COVID, but who knows what could come up. So we just have to be ready to deal with whatever.
Thanks, Coach.
It's Dan Rod Walker with the Times-Picayune. Today, the NBA came out with a policy about resting players, and just want to get your thoughts on that policy and how easy or how hard would that be to even try to enforce? I assume you've seen that.
I've been in agreement with everything the league has done to try to get us to play our players when they're healthy. I think the thing we can never forget when you're in pro sports is the people who make our leagues. I don't care if it's the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, it's the fans that make the league. Without the fans, we have no league. We have nobody buying TV rights. We have nothing without the fans. And we need to respect those fans at all times. So I don't think anybody should be running an injured player out there or putting somebody in danger. But you have to be careful about simply resting guys when there's people who are going to watch. And I know this year there's not going to be many people, if any, in the arenas, but there's people tuning in on TV. So what the NBA said basically was they'll give us some leeway in non-nationally televised games. But, they want notification if we're resting healthy people in a nationally televised game. I mean, I think that's pretty realistic. I think to respect the fans, healthy players should play all the time as a respect to your fans. I just think sometimes we forget about that element of it, that this is the fans make the entire league. Let's show them some respect.
Hey, Coach, this is Shamit Dua from Bourbon Treat Shots. This year, you guys only have 2 preseason games. Typically, coaching staffs have 4 or 5 to work with to figure out the rotation. Have you guys given thought into if you're going to play an expanded rotation the first game or even the second game, or how that's going to look going forward?
Wow. Shamit, you're so far ahead of me that maybe you should have my job. I'm on what are we going to work on tonight at 6 o'clock. So I haven't thought 1 second yet about the exhibition games. I know we have them. I know who they're against and when they are. But in terms of how we're going to play them, I don't have any idea. I don't even know what we're going to have in by then, what we're not going to have in. I'm just trying to go day by day, making our progression and getting in and teaching what I think we need to teach to be ready to play.
Hey, Coach, this is Fletcher Mackel from WDSU, the NBC station here in New Orleans. I have kind of a off-the-court related question, so bear with me here. How has this process been for you in your family? I know you were invested heavily in your community in Florida. You're moving to a new city during a pandemic, kind of a shortened window of time, and you're getting a new team ready to play. How has it been just on the human side for you? Finding a place to live, meeting fans, adjusting to a new city, investing in a new city while you're doing a million other things.
Yeah, thanks, Fletcher. I'm just glad that there's somebody out there who thinks I am a human. So some people doubt it. So that's a good thing to start with. My wife's not here yet. We closed on a house a week ago today, but we needed to get some work done in the house. So we're not going to get in until about the 19th is when my wife and 2 dogs are coming in, and my son, who doesn't live with us, but he's home now in the pandemic, is going to come over with the dogs also, and one of my daughters. So we'll start to get to move in, but it is hard because New Orleans is a great city, and for me, I want to get out to these restaurants and stuff, and we really can't do a lot of that. And we have always gotten very involved in whatever communities we were in, in causes and charitable things and things like that. And it's hard to get. I've had a lot of recommendations here of people to get involved with, but it's really hard to get a feel for people when you can't go out and talk to them and things like that. But, you know, I have a lot of people we worked with in Central Florida who have colleagues here who want me to get in touch with them. And so we'll get involved. Right now, I'm not doing anything but trying to get this team ready. But as we go on, we'll definitely find our way in the community and try to make at least a little bit of an impact, because I think that's important to my wife and I that we do that. So I'm looking forward to that part of it. And I'm looking forward, like we all are, to getting a vaccine so we can start doing all of these things.
Hey, Coach Jeff Duncan with the Athletic. I know you talked about culture at your introductory press conference. I wanted to follow up a little more detail on that. How would you define the culture you and your staff and Griff, the front office, is trying to establish? And is that very important to winning games in this league, or is it something that we all talk about that really is undefinable?
Well, look, I think we said it the other day. The first thing that we said at the meeting when we first talked to our guys as a group was, you know, what's the number one most important thing to win? It's talent. I mean, you know, we can't bypass that. That's the most important thing there is. But we've got plenty of examples of talent alone not being enough. I mean, it's not that often that it's the most talented team that wins. I mean, you know, it's certainly not all the time. And so I think the way you operate as a franchise and how hard your guys work and how well they play together, how unselfish they are, you know, how committed everybody is to the process, those things are all really, really important. But I think I said this at my press conference, you know, your culture isn't what you talk about and what you say it is. Your culture is what you do every single day and what you're about. And so right now, all our players know about our staff is what we have talked to them about, but they've only got 2 practices under their belt here. You know, give them a month and they can probably talk to you about what they think the culture is, and whatever they think, that's what it is.
If I could follow up real quick, are there some cultures you've seen in your years of coaching that would be models, whether it's San Antonio or OKC or something like that you've always admired?
Well, I would say this, there's a lot of teams that I admire, and I admire the way they play on the floor. And if they play that way on the floor, then you know their culture is really, really good. But I don't think you know exactly what the culture is anywhere until you're inside of it. So certainly have admired what San Antonio has done and the way their teams have played. But I just certainly don't know the ins and outs of San Antonio's culture either. I was in a good culture in Miami. I know what that culture was about. That's a very strong culture, I think, values-wise. I thought we had a really good culture in Orlando. I think I said this at my press conference also. You know, at the end of the day, the people who determine your culture are not so much guys like me as your best players. They determine what the culture is going to be. So we can get up there and talk and certainly push it. But how much those guys buy in and how much they're about the right things will determine the strength of your culture. And we'll see how that goes here. So far, really good start. I think we've got some guys here we got a lot of guys who are about all the right things. So I think things will be good, but you never know until you get going, and you never really know until you hit adversity.
Hi, Coach. This is Ali Cosell with the Bird Rights. Yesterday, you touched on wanting to improve the team's communication levels. For years, New Orleans has been known as really a quiet team, and it was really pretty evident last year. So how do you get guys with quiet dispositions to go outside of their comfort zones and basically talk and communicate as much as you would like to see?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, and I don't think there's an easy answer to that. I mean, you just keep emphasizing it on a daily basis, pointing it out when not happening. encouraging it when it is happening, and try to build it over time. It's not an easy thing. And I think it is true that we don't have a lot of guys who are naturally communicative and louder. But it's not about changing somebody's personality. It's about people doing their jobs. That's all this is about. And your job in certain situations, you've got to communicate things to your teammates. Now, if it could go beyond that, that'd be great. But at the minimum, you've got to do your job. And that's where it all starts.
So, Coach, this is Will from The Athletic again. You talked earlier about the importance of, limiting free throws and protecting the rim to build a good defense. But how important is it also to have somebody at the point of attack to defend some of the top guards in this league, especially in the West? And how much does Eric bring in that role as that guy at the point of attack?
Well, Eric's as good an on-ball defender at that position as there is in the league. And certainly that's where it starts. But look, I think we have people who can defend. I mean, I think the talent is there to be able to do it, okay? Lonzo can defend. Brandon Ingram can defend. Zion can defend. Steven Adams can defend. I don't think there's any doubt that we've got enough defensive ability. So I think a few things that, number one, we have to all get on board with a system of play and a system of communication and buy into it and do it. It's not just individual defense. A lot of situations happen on the floor and you've got to be tied together. That takes some time. How long, I don't know, but it's not going to be there by tomorrow, I'll tell you that. You've got time to learn what you're doing and really play together on that defense. Experience helps, both in a system and just in the league. I remember years ago talking to JJ about this, about how much easier it got as he long, because he sees situations developing that in his first couple of years caught him by surprise. So our guys are going through some of that. So it's really about time and experience. And the most important thing, which hopefully we'll have, is a commitment to doing the work it takes to be good defensively.
Coach Mark Menard here, WWL Radio in New Orleans. Along those lines, Zion Williamson last season, had less than half a season of work basically as a rookie. And I was just wondering, what major defensive improvements and defensive benchmarks do you think he should be able to hit here in year two?
Yeah, I don't know. I never really, I've never really looked at anything statistically defensively, so it's a little harder to judge. I just think, better familiarity with rotations and things like that. I think it's more of a team thing. I mean, certainly every individual's got to do their part, but my concern defensively is, number one, that we get the effort that we need. Number two, that we understand what our philosophy is and what our priorities are defensively. And then number three, that we really learn our system and how we're covering different situations. I look at it all, Mark, from a team standpoint, and certainly everybody has to do their part of it, but I don't look at it as 5 individual guys out there.
Thank you, Coach.
What's up, Steven? This is Will Guillory with The Athletic. Last year, you averaged a career high in assists. How much, doing more stuff as far as dribble handoffs, hitting guys on backdoor cuts, how much did you enjoy showing that part of your game, and how much do you think you'll be able to do that here in New Orleans?
Oh, it's good. To be honest, they just made shots, mate. It's usually a two-man game, that one, for that stat. No, it was good, bro. It was just a bit different. You'll see a bit more of the league now is trending more towards more handoff type stuff, right? High bigs and like the action up by the elbows and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's like a natural, growth.
Hey, Steven, this is Christian Clark with Null.com. What have these first 2 practices been like with Stan, and Is there any sense of kind of what your role is defensively? You know, what kind of Stan expects from you on that end early on?
Well, transition's the main thing. Yeah, it's standard, like it's par for the NBA, but in case of you, for some who don't know, it's basically like transition is like the biggest emphasis, right? And then from there, it's how you guard the pick and roll, and then just kind of how you defend one-on-one. That's basically the setup. And yeah, everyone has to do their part, you know what I mean? And again, this is a tough game, man. It's just, in a nutshell, it is simple, but it's very, very difficult, right? The execution of it. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, man.
Hey, Stephen Jeff Duncan at The Athletic. I'm curious to know your experience in OKC. They're pretty legendary for the culture there that has been established over the years of being a positive culture. I'm curious, how would you define it? And is that something that can actually translate to wins and losses, the culture in the locker room and on a basketball team?
It's a tough question. Short answer, I don't know. This is a short answer. It's just a weird one, mate. Because it could be one of those things. The chemistry part of the whole joint is like how you operate on the floor. It ain't so much off the court, if that makes sense. Because you could be really cool and friendly with someone, but like you just don't click together on the court, and vice versa, right? You just really don't like a dude off the court, but you click really well on the court, right? It goes both ways. So, in terms of like that whole culture thing, this ain't even talking about like the Thunder. I'm just talking about like in general, right? Mm-hmm. These are just rules of thumb, I think.
Right.
People should be aware of. So if you're going by that, with the whole winning culture, it's better if you push the chemistry on the court, right? And then obviously if you want to like, it's not like you're just shutting down. Like if the boys want to go have dinner together, then thumbs up, mate. go hang out. Like it's all good stuff. Like that's all great. And then all that allows is just for you. It's just more time for you to talk about what's on the court and what do you see, and kind of get some people's ideas on different things. Basically, you're trying to break the ice as soon as possible, so you don't have an awkward moment on the court where you don't feel like you could talk to your teammate. In a nutshell. By the way, these are my rules. They're not for everyone. All right, I just make them up.
I want to, if I could follow up real quick though, you've always had a kind of a defined role. I mean, you do a lot of the dirty work. How important is it for players, everyone, not just yourself, but everyone to understand their roles and understand also there might be quote unquote stars on the team that are going to have their role. And then there's glue guys and everyone has a defined role to leading to team success.
Sorry, so the question is, you're just asking how important your role is and to just do the role, do your part the best to your ability, is that?
Well, also understanding that there might be stars that are going to have larger, higher profile roles, and everyone understanding fitting in around those stars.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, defining your role is very, very important for one. If it's not really clear from the start, that's when you kind of get into this weird area. Now, I'm not saying like it's not like a perfect like black and white. It's never there. Basketball is never there. There's always like these gray areas, right, where the structure, which is like your rules, right, that the coach puts in, you're allowed to play within this box, right? And then when you kind of push the boundaries a bit, obviously it's like a bit of like a case by case, right? But as long as you do what the coach asks, because I mean he's running the show, right? This is all his theory and whatnot. As long as you're just doing that, mate, I mean, it's fine. And that is the most important thing about just playing for your teammate and all that is. And as long as you get wins, okay? We have to win. That needs to be the outcome. So, I mean, yeah, whatever you could do, mate. It's much better if the team wins rather than individuals, right? Just because, I mean, yeah. I don't need to explain that, mate. You're not just a hat rack, mate. You can figure that one out.
Stephen, my name is Fletcher from NBC in New Orleans. I have somewhat of a non-basketball question, so bear with me. I think that we've all read a lot about your appetite and eating habits. I know it's a crazy time with COVID and everything, but New Orleans is kind of a famous food city. Have you had a chance to order or go out or experience any interesting thing from a culinary standpoint since you arrived, or just all basketball so far?
All basketball, but I do have to eat. So I've been, been dabbling, you know what I mean, here and there. It's just different though. Takeouts is kind of gross, eh? It just like it's not the same. So I need to wait until everything's uplifted, and then I'll go to restaurants, give it a proper crack. But so far they taste really great. The food that I've had in terms of takeaway, as much as whatever that means.
Hey, Steven, this is Shamit from Bourbon Street Shots. In your introductory press conference, you mentioned Stan Van Gundy as an old school coach. You've had 2 practices with him now. Any first impressions?
Yeah. What I meant by old school is that he's been around for a long time. I'm not sure if it's like he's an old school kind of coach or anything. It's just that he's been around the game for a long time. But no, he's a good dude, man. Pretty straight up. Got a powerful voice. You know, he's about yay high. I don't know if you see my hand. About yay high. I mean, he's not very big, but bloody powerful dude, man. Like he tells you off. Yeah. So no, good dude, man. Good coach. Still early days yet.
All right, that'll do it. Thank you, Stephen.
Hey, Eric, Christian Clark with NOLA.com here. In Milwaukee, you guys had a lot of success at the defensive end, and a large part of that was limiting shots at the rim. Can you just help me understand why that approach worked for you guys?
We just tried to make our opponents take the less percentage shot in the league is the mid-range. So we try to force mid-range shots. Obviously we can't stop everything. So we just try to give up the mid-range. Protect the rim, not give up so many layups, and for the most part, just be competitive out there. Be competitive out there on that end of the floor and play for each other.
What's up, Eric? This is Will Guillory with The Athletic. A big thing for you guys in Milwaukee the past few years was the way they kind of controlled everyone's minutes. Everybody was right around 28, 32, somewhere in there. I think last year, your minutes were the lowest they've been since basically you were still coming off the bench. So now that you're here, are you expecting your minutes to go up? And do you think that's going to benefit your game plan, maybe a bigger minutes load?
Oh, I'm just here to, win, to help win. That's the biggest thing. No matter I'm playing 15, no matter I'm playing 20, my mindset stay the same. Go out there to compete, each and every possession, every play, and try to help, this basketball team win games.
Hey, Eric, Mark Menard here, WWL Radio in New Orleans. So much of defense is predicated on chemistry. So, what's it been like for you building chemistry here in the early days, especially with a guy like Lonzo Ball, who you'll presumably be playing alongside?
Me personally, I think Lonzo got great instincts for, playing, great defense. Me watching from the outside, he definitely have a knack for play. He got great feet. He got the length to defend. So, it's just me here, just helping him out, much as I can. At the end of the day, it is, basketball. We enjoy doing this, so I just have fun with it. And like I said, me being here helping him out as much as I can.
Eric, Rod Walker with the Times-Picayune. 2 practices in, what have been your just early impressions with Zion, and just maybe something you learned about him that you didn't know before you got here?
I mean, how great of a person he is off the court. You can just, you see someone on the, outside looking in. He play kind of mean, what you like, on the court. You don't want him to play, like you got friends out there. But, just how he just interacts with his teammates, off the court and stuff. That's pretty, special.
Hey, Eric, this is Shamit Dua from Bourbon Street Shots. Have you had a chance to interact with Kira Lewis any and given a chance to give him any advice maybe as he's learning the ropes?
Yeah. Kira is super quick and fast, man. Sometimes he moves too fast and too quick, but I kind of tell him to slow down a little bit. Some stuff you ain't got to do as fast, and that just comes because he's excited being here. Young player, in the NBA, his age, he's just excited being here. So he definitely just got to slow down a little bit. But I see great talent in him.
Eric, Christian Clark again, just to kind of follow up on that. I mean, I know you guys are both from Alabama. You have roots there. Did you know him before coming into this situation?
I did not. I heard of him. Just being from the state. I always check in. Kind of watch it. A little bit. But me knowing him personally, I did not. First time I get to meet him. But it's been great so far.
So, Eric, this is Will again from The Athletic. I think a natural thing a lot of people did after the trade was to look at your skill set and say, hey, well, he'll just do what Drew did for this team last year. And obviously you guys are different players. So I guess what have you done in the past to kind of, ignore the talk about what's you're expected from you or what people want to see from you on the court and just kind of focus on what you do best?
I mean, that's what I feel like I've been able to stay in this league is just playing my game. Everybody gonna say what they expect out of you. You just gotta, know what to expect out of yourself and your teammates. That's what's the most important thing. Teammates, coaches, whoever's in this locker room. That's who you pretty much playing for. And that's what I've been doing my whole life is playing for them guys out there. Giving 110%. Because like I said, I love playing this game, man. I don't want to take it for granted.
All right, thank you, Blade. That's all we got.
Hey, Wenyen, this is Christian Clark with NOLA.com. Just kind of what were your thoughts when you were able to agree to a deal with New Orleans, and just kind of what are you hoping to bring to the situation here?
It was just excitement, honestly. Obviously in these times of uncertainty, but when I first heard about potentially coming to New Orleans, I got excited. I looked up. I knew enough about the city, but I looked up. I knew who was on the roster as a young team, and I felt like the things that I bring can fit into the situation. I think there was a reason why they brought me here. So, my high energy players, we're all around the same age. I can shoot the ball well, stretch the floor, and I defend. So those are things that helped me get on the court. Those are parts to my career that got me here. So I'm going to continue to do the things that got me here and improve my game.
What's up, Wenyen? This is Will Giller with The Athletic. How big was that opportunity last year for you to get some meaningful time in the playoffs with Portland to kind of show who you are and what you can bring in this league?
That was huge. Whether even before I even got a chance to really play with Portland, just being in Portland in general, the entire organization they really took me in and made me be myself. And I feel like I learned a lot from being around those veteran players. To ask different questions and just watch the way they move. And then eventually when my opportunity came in the bubble, it was huge for my confidence and just for my learning and progression as a player. And just being more comfortable out there on the floor and a lot of like the rookie stuff, I feel like it was a transition for me and becoming more of an NBA player. And I'm super grateful for that time.
Hey, this is Jim Eichenhofer of Pelicans.com. Will just asked pretty much exactly the question I was going to ask you about the experience of the bubble. But I guess I could ask you, you talked about some of the things that you bring to a team, and I think a lot of people were impressed with your energy as far as what you showed in the playoff games and the key games that you got on the court with Portland. But what do you think are some of the areas that you are working on right now as far as just expanding your game or different areas that you're trying to improve?
One thing is I've already been improving on is just decision making, making the right plays and the right timing. I think that's one of the biggest difference of coming from the college game or even with the G League, kind of understanding the game. Once you have a better understanding and a better feel, putting that together on the court, getting my talent to reach with that is kind of what the goal is here. So learning how to play with different players and in different situations, and ball handling is another thing that I'm going to continue to improve on for the next step of my career. But keep working on my body and learning different things defensively where I can excel there. Guarding different players, learning how to play different positions, and understanding now we're going to have to learn new offense technically a little bit. So you have to understand new different plays where I can be opportunistic and on offense and where my opportunities will come there and finding those different things. So it's a lot of the mental aspect, I would say, but talent-wise, I'm going to continue to improve my shooting, to become more consistent on that end of the court. And I know that's offensively, that's going to be one of the biggest things. Finishing around the rim, obviously, is going to be something that's going to be big for me too, as I get more minutes and I'm around the rim. So those are things I'm focusing on.
Hey man, Christian Clark here again. At the NBA level, coaches have used you at a little bit of small forward, a lot of power forward, and even a little bit of small ball center. Is there a position you're most comfortable in?
I say at this point in my career, it's my position is perfect for the NBA going on now because it's about being positionless and not getting too attached to a certain position. So I like being able, the fact that I can guard multiple positions gives me opportunities on offense too. So being able to guard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it gives the coaches more options on to leave me out there on the court. And then offensively, I improve on those different things. But I don't say I'm too in love with a certain position, but coming up, I was probably more comfortable playing like the stretch 4 position. And as you can see, I'm not a traditional 5 and I'm not a traditional 3 either. So if you can answer your question, I'm probably more of a stretch 4 right now.
Subscribe now and stay up to date for all things New Orleans Pelicans.